This is GenZinsights, part of the Gen Z and STEM podcast, where every week during summer an episode is released. We feature members from Gen Z studying in STEM fields and doing amazing things. This week, we're featuring Adriana. She studies data science at IE in Spain and has been involved in competitions and projects related to innovation and entrepreneurship.
Data science is a very new and broad field because you can literally apply it to literally like any industry out there.
This is the Gen Z and STEM podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and I hope you're as excited as I am. Let's get to it. Welcome, Adriana. Happy to have you here today. We're going to be talking about data science and some other things. But yeah, firstly, could you give a brief introduction of who you are?
Of course. I'm a first year data science student at IE here in Spain, in Madrid. And I mean, it's been just 1 year studying this, but it's been a quite intense one and a pretty fun one. So hopefully I can contribute to the podcast with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, you do a lot of incredible stuff that we're going to get into today. But like you said, you're a first year data science student. But for instance, for someone who does not know what data science consists of, can you maybe tell us, explain what data science is and what sort of classes or content you touch upon?
Of course. So, first of all, data science is a very new and broad field because you can literally apply it to literally like any industry out there. I don't think I'm exaggerating in that sense. And for that reason, for someone that doesn't really know or is not familiar with anything related to data science, the definition itself of the field might be like ambiguous or broad. But if I had to define it myself with my own words, I would say that it's an interdisciplinary field in which basically people aim to extract value from data. Value means insights, actionable information, predictions, trends, understanding of a situation could be literally anything, because data itself is a very broad thing. Now, how exactly do we do that? Because extract value, okay, that sounds a bit again, ambiguous. So as I said, it's an interdisciplinary field, meaning that we take knowledge from different disciplines. In this case, we have three main ones, which are mathematics, a lot of stats and calculus. We have computer science because, of course, we need to have a foundation on coding, algorithms, AI, machine learning, databases, software development, all these things. And then we have the business and domain expertise because, of course, you might have the information and the technical skills to analyze data, but you need to apply that information onto something, an industry. And that's where the domain expertise comes in. So to sum it up, I would say the data science basically aims to get insightful information from any data.
Mhm.
Then, for instance, let's just mention some applications broadly. For instance, I don't know, influence people's and companies' decisions, change the direction of a company or a business, whatever it is, identify trends, understand what's undermining within them, and make predictions. That's one of the most valuable ones.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much it's applicable in so many situations, but also alongside just doing the studies of data science, you also are in many clubs and projects, some that do relate to data science, such as the Quantum Club, the Innovation Lab, and you've participated in the Viz competition. So I want to touch upon the Viz competition. If I understand well, the Viz competition is sort of like an event where tech or STEM students at IE create visualizations based on given data sets. So as you've mentioned, data science is many things, but can you tell us a bit about your experience in this competition?
Of course. So for context, the competition focused on the communicative part of data science because data science is both technical and it has its humanity side, if we can put it that way. I'll go over that in a bit. But yeah, so it basically consisted of two rounds in which the teams were giving a data set of anything. I'm going to put an example after. And with that data set, we would have to tell a story with the insights we would find to the directors and whoever it was that came to the competition. Yeah. So, for instance, in the final round, we were giving a data set from the United Nations. It was a pretty big, ugly, and messy one. We had their information about literally everything about all the countries in the world regarding their demographics, their health, their GDPs, and how it was invested in different things. It was, yeah, we could do a lot of things with that. And what my team and I did was to investigate and analyze how the healthcare investments of each country actually impacted people's health to see if they were actually efficient with their investments. And yeah, overall, it was a really great experience. We actually ended up winning two prizes, one for the storytelling and
Mhm.
one for the infographics. And I honestly loved it because I applied a lot of the knowledge I learned in class onto something that was real and that was actually very insightful.
Mhm. Well, first, congrats on the prizes, but also, so it's interesting because with data you can do anything. Like sometimes in the real world too, like it can be misleading because data can be used in various ways. But I'm
Mhm.
curious, how is like visualization like linked to data science, and what's its importance?
Okay, it's actually a key part of data science because I'm actually gonna go deeper into the what I'm gonna say just now because I feel like it's important. So data science, like as a scientist, you have to go through a process because to get that insightful information, you have to go through several like parts, if we want to put it that way. So of course you need to get the data, then you have to clean it, mine it, put it in the structure you want and the format you need to analyze it. And then once you have the information, okay, what do you do with that? You need to communicate it somehow to whoever it is, the company, your team, a public, whatever it is. And that's where data visualization comes in. Data visualization basically focuses on how you transmit your message, how you frame it, and how you put it in a way that's clear and engaging for other people to understand it so that they can, again, make the decisions they need, redirect their companies in the way that they feel like is better, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, in the subject, what you mainly learn is about different types of graphs and how each type of chart focuses and like better explains the different insights of the different data structures. So you might learn what different colors mean and how they might influence psychologically to how people might interpret your message, which is a very important thing to have in mind because you might have one message, but maybe this type of graph with this type of colors and this type of mapping are way better to make people understand clearly what you're trying to say than other type of graph. So yeah, it basically focuses on that.
Okay, yeah. And also, so depending on the university you go to, right? Like the courses you partake in, the curriculum can like be either like heavily like theory based or more like practical. But for you in your experience, like how hands on and applied is your course, and how do events like the Wiz competition help you grasp data science concepts?
Okay, so I would say that my course is very practical. That's actually one of the reasons why I chose it because I'm a very practical person myself. And I feel like honestly, the fact that it's practical is key to understanding data science itself. Because as I said in the beginning, data science is a very broad and ambiguous topic and field in general. So in class, you might, of course, understand what they're telling you, or explaining to you, whatever. But at the same time, it's very open. So once you apply it onto a project, a lab, an activity, whatever it is that you have to do, you actually spot there what you actually understand and the gaps of knowledge you might have. And yeah, that's honestly how you get the best grasp of what you understand and how to learn it properly.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love that. Like, I personally like do civil engineering, and in my university, it's also like very like applied compared to some other universities. So every single like, I guess like it's broken into modules, 4 modules per year, and every single module we have a project where we apply everything we're learning and apply it. And without that, first
Same
of all,
for
the classes won't be that interesting, but also you get a grasp of like how it works and why it's useful, which is really nice.
we do that same thing. Like every time we finish a module, we do like a research project or a presentation thing, whatever. Like some sort of activity that lets us apply the knowledge we have on like with something that interests us individually as a students.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
yeah, it's so nice. Okay, so you do data science, but you're also, like I mentioned before, engaged in like other things in clubs. You've also mentioned being interested in entrepreneurship. So, well, first of all, like how and where did you like first start being interested in entrepreneurship?
This is honestly a very long story, but I mean, of course, the university I'm in, like one of its most prominent personality traits, honestly, if we can put it that way, is entrepreneurship. Like it's a value of theirs, it's at their core. So they
Mhm.
do a lot of events, competitions, talks in which they bring entrepreneurs, investors, and people with this type of mindset and projects so that students can learn from them and see what they can actually do with their knowledge. So yeah, the moment I started to be in this university, I started to more or less get the idea and the grasp of how it works. But the moment I started myself to actually learn directly about entrepreneurship was in a competition of this kind. It was the Tech Venture Bootcamp, and it was a bit overwhelming, but at the same time very enriching for me because, again, I didn't know. I barely knew anything about entrepreneurship and business. I was more focused on the technical side of stuff. And then I got into that competition. Luckily, I had a team that already had like a developed project and that had a lot of knowledge on software development. Because, okay, well, for context, the Tech Venture Bootcamp was a competition. It was like it lasted for like 5 days, and basically what we had to do was to build a tech startup within those 5 days, completely.
In 5 days.
Yeah, in 5 days.
Wow.
So, of course, you learn a lot of things, but it was a bit overwhelming because of that. And for myself, as I didn't know barely like anything about this, yeah, you can get a sense of how it went.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, my team had a lot of knowledge on this, mostly on the technical side as well, but knowledge in like how to build the MVP, for instance, because well, back end and front end development, all of that stuff. So the business side was actually something that I could really learn from, because that part was already covered. So yeah, that was the first touch I had with entrepreneurship. And then after the Tech Venture Bootcamp, I joined the Venture Lab, and there I started to learn myself and like go to classes of entrepreneurship with a team of mine and started to like develop my own initiatives.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. And so I don't know. Well, personally, I feel like I see like a lot of like I don't know more startups starting to be created, and this whole like idea of entrepreneurship being like more global and more talked about. At least in our generation, I think so. But do you think that's the case for people around you or not?
Honestly, I do feel like around me, entrepreneurship is really becoming a thing. I don't know if it's because I'm in a university that really encourages the type of behavior. Might be, honestly. Because outside of university, I don't see it as much. But yeah, like in my environment, yeah, it's really becoming a thing.
And like, what aspects of like the word entrepreneurship like resonates with you?
This is a complex one, honestly, because I think like that a lot of things really do resonate with me. But I would honestly say that the main one is the fact that entrepreneurs don't really comfort with what they have or what they've been given, and they instead question it and try to improve the world in a way with their own idea. Because
Mhm.
it might sound cliche, okay, whatever, but when we come to this world, things are one way and they're set that way.
Mhm.
And there are people that well decide to have like just like basically accept it and live with it, which is completely fine. Of course, I'm not saying it's not. But then there's people that decide to be critical about it, spot opportunities, and then with the resources they have, they just start doing something, and they keep on trying until the project or idea they had initially actually makes a difference in the world. And I feel like that is very valuable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. Like I really like the part where like individuals take ownership of their idea and they try to like see like problems in the world, not just waiting for I don't know someone in their company to talk about
Exactly.
it, but they find problems and find solutions to these problems for people. I find that like
Yeah, I
really
love that.
cool. But yeah. And so, other than that, you've also been involved with like the open startup accelerator ecosystem, so Innovation Lab and Venture Lab.
Mhm.
What is your role in the Venture Lab?
In the Venture Lab, I'm basically just a student. It's
Mm.
like a course in which they teach us the main things we need to know to build a startup ourselves. So we have
Okay.
classes on marketing, on business models, also on technological stuff to be our own like CTOs, if we can put it that way. And then we also have pitching classes and pitching days.
Wow. So it sets you up to like one day even create your own like startup or like.
Exactly, yeah. Like my
Okay.
main objective by joining this lab is to get enough knowledge to build my own startup someday once I get like I mean I already have ideas, but I need to like solidify them and get them ongoing. But
Mhm.
once I have like a proper idea and a clear way on how to do it, I already have the knowledge thanks to the venture lab and these other opportunities I've gained to actually start my startup.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing that you have facilities for that and that you're doing that. Okay, and then for the innovation lab, you've had like projects in the past, or you've been part of it in the past. So, what projects or collaborations have you been involved in your time in the innovation lab?
Okay, so the Innovation Lab, first of all, like for context, is basically like a program in which we learn mainly about, well, of course, innovation, right? But what does that mean?
Mhm.
We learn about different brainstorming strategies. Like basically, we develop different type of skills, problem-solving skills, creativity, how to think differently and outside of the box, and how to bring value with our ideas, and lastly, how to make them actually real. And this is something we do when we applied to something, a project, for instance. Like
Mhm.
each one of us had to do a project in teams. And my project was to design a physical and digital infrastructure for an open startup ecosystem focused on the solar energy sector. So we had to design literally like the physical space, where it would be, how it would be, the services it would offer, and then the digital infrastructure, a website in which we would offer as well those services complementing the physical one.
Mhm.
And then we would have to also like set up the network of investors, the services that the startups would have access to and how they would thrive, that kind of things.
Mhm. Wow, okay. And then did you like pitch it, or was that just
No,
no?
well, not exactly. Like the thing is, that project was in collaboration with a company, with Telefonica.
Mhm.
So we presented it to one of the directors of Telefonica.
Oh wow. That's
So
really
not
cool. Like
exactly pitching, but yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, but that's like when we, for instance, do a project and then like pitch it to the municipality. Like it's not
yeah,
necessarily gonna help for anything, but it gives ideas.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so lastly, to like any like student or individual wanting to like enter like data science, what advice would you give them?
Okay, I could really go on rant about this for like a lot of time. But okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind is to really build a strong mathematical foundation because if you have a strong math background, the computer science and analysis part are just gonna themselves out along the way. Then, for people that don't know if data science is for them, I would honestly suggest like you have to be someone that likes the technical and analytical part of things because,
Mhm.
of course, you're going to have a lot of math and coding, and you have to be comfortable with that. But people only tend to focus on that side when I feel like the other side that I'm going to talk about now is more important. You need to also be someone that's creative and proactive because, okay, as a data scientist, you might get information about something like the insights, okay, and you might be very good at the analysis and whatever. But then what do you do with that information? Okay, you can just communicate it or you can actually take action with that and put into action the insights you've found.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's really where the power of that data relays, yeah. And then another thing you would really need to focus on is on the fact that you need to like being with people. You have to be a people's person because you're gonna have to be working in teams, have like super direct contact with a lot of board members and with your clients, and even give like open speeches and talks to a lot of public with
Mhm.
your graphs and the insights you find, whatever. So you need to be comfortable with that. Yeah. And then for someone that knows already that they're into data science and are gonna undertake this field, I would firstly suggest that, as we said before, put your knowledge into practice with a project of your own or get involved in activities out there that let you apply what you know. Because that's gonna really make you stand out and really deepen your understanding of everything. Then, from my experience, I would honestly suggest you to get involved in your community and every opportunity you see out there that can benefit you in any way, go for it. You don't lose anything, honestly. You're gonna make friends, you're gonna learn a lot, not just about data science, but about like people and different fields in general, and you can really just learn in general. I feel like it's really enriching.
Mhm.
Like join competitions, go to events, network with people. That's really gonna open a lot of of doors for you. And then lastly, and I feel like this one is a very important one, is to try to grow outside of data science. Because again, going to the same thing I said before, data science can be applied to anything. And you're gonna have to eventually apply it to something, and hopefully that's something that you really do like. So if you start from the very beginning to explore different fields in which you can apply your skills and find it like your niche or your main interests, then when you finalize your degree, you're gonna have a way better idea of what you really want to do with it.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, that's very solid advice.
Mhm.
But it's interesting you say it's like you need to be able to be good with people because it's interesting because like you're not
Definitely.
just data crunching. Like the end of this is you're communicating data with people.
Exactly. That's the whole point, to make like to change people's minds about something, to make them realize things, to yeah, impact them in some way. It's all about the people or the company or yeah, society, we can put it like that, the world, being dramatic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for like coming on today and sharing all your like knowledge on data science. If this
Of
is all
course.
you've done in 1 year, I can't wait to see like what you do next.
Thank you.
If you've made it till here, thank you. Today we talked all about data science and how projects and competition help you grow. You can follow Adriana on LinkedIn. And also, I hope this was insightful to you. We are going to be releasing Gen Z Insight episodes every week of this summer. So subscribe or follow on LinkedIn or Instagram. And that way you can stay up to date. Bye.